Hello there. Good evening, scribes. Happy Sunday. Sorry about the delay. Nearly made it on time today. That would be a first. Bear with me while I get set up. Sent Kevin and Andy the link, so I'll come on the camera shortly. Just get stuff sorted out. Very good. How are we? What's we saying? What's go on? Scribes, Sam. Just load up the other screen so I can see the chat room. Are we on? I believe we are. Top cats in the top chat. Meow meow. Up on the top, Albert, Andrew. Look. Hello. Good evening. Does it sound all right? I've got some Bluetooth wireless on, no doubt. Well, our technicalities. Hopefully it's good. Let's turn up the phone actually and see. No, it doesn't sound too clever. That's Geek wireless headphones, coffee coloured. They're about £12. Not too clever, look. Not too clever, bear with me. Bear with me.
Very, very shocking. Hopefully. Yes, we are. Hello, Kev.
Hello. All right.
Yes, hi. Good evening, brother.
Yeah, sorry, just getting my, not I'm going to have my picture on for long, but I just had a sticker over my camera for something I haven't done in a while. Must be getting paranoid in my old age.
No, it's security is often, you know, we think we're going above and beyond, but we're not. It's a camera, and it can be accessed by various forms of programs, can't it? So microphones, the same. It's a shame you can't do that with a microphone. There's a place in Sheffield where I go, and when we go to this man's yard, we have to put our phones in the microwave.
Yeah.
Anybody that wants to put their phone in a microwave and then use another phone and ring that phone that's in the microwave, you will find that it won't ring. It's nuclear protection. So not that we do anything that we need to protect about, but he's just a bit, what do we call him? It's a bit careful. He knows.
Yeah, I don't like it. Yeah, sometimes I say most of my other devices are, I think I bought myself 10,000 black circular stickers. So I can just peel them on and off as I have to. But yeah, I don't like the, you know, especially on the laptop and that, they can do what they like now without you even knowing. So just try and thwart them at every corner.
Thanks. That's tech update from our Kev. This week's super tech hint. Yes, privacy is essential.
Secret squirrel.
Right, you're right. Preserving your rights, preserving your privacy. If you want to leave a portal into your realm open, then so be it. We have a portal on the door, which is called the post box, the dimensions of, and then we've got portals on televisions. Alexa, find me the Surrey, you know, and whoever else we've got. Alexa, Surrey. There's got to be more that I'm missing here, but yeah, it's just fantastic that man will have, you know, in the 70s, Stanley Kubrick era and so forth, and you know, the eras of what we've grown up with, and you know, the fear of the technology, and now everybody's just welcoming it in and thinking that it's all, you know, it's all governed and regulated, isn't it, Kev? Like the 5G, you know, it's all above board.
Of course, I trust it implicitly.
These corporations, they've only got our best interests at heart. It's not about them. It's entirely about us and on the customer experience. It's not about how much money they can embezzle, on how fast they can do it. Even a child could run up a bill of $100 or pounds in a matter of minutes, accidentally getting hold of the remote control.
Yes, it's for our protection. Of course it is.
What we're going to say, let's say who's in. I don't know if you can see the room of chatness,
Yeah.
but we'll see what scribes have landed.
I've got 2 devices, one in the chat room, one live. I'm just going to shut my camera off now. You've all seen how ugly I am for long enough.
You're not ugly, Kev. You're beautiful. Yeah, I'll come on and say hello just for a bit. Andy is
Stop it.
Andy is the ugly one of our three. He'll be here soon. He'll probably hear it. He's probably watching. No, we're all brothers. We're all family, and there is no oil painting between me, you, and Andy. We're all on equal par there. So rest assured. Beauty is skin deep. Why is it whenever I start making a video, we get family interaction in the kitchen? The camera's not on, so unfortunately for you, Fox, you don't get on this time. You know what it's
trying
like.
to steal your limelight, Dave.
It is every time she hears me. She's Dad's doing the video. Let's go to the kitchen, everyone. Love you. Nice. Yeah, Andy says he'll be around about 9 or something. He's just doing his hair and whatnot, making himself look fancy, I think.
Got to be a bit later than 9.
Ooh, he's going to bring his boot. Moving on. We're both in trouble now. We're both up for the high jump after last week. Laid back present. Yeah, we had fun last week, didn't we? It was good. It was a good crack.
Yes. Oh, excuse me. Hey, hang on.
Yeah, I'm going to go and say hello to the room while you sort your lungs out. And yes, Andrew, Lisa, Christina. Sounds not great. Low and mute, muffled. That's it. Geek, £8, £12, whatever they were. Digital headphones, beware. I'll tell. Carl, phone didn't last long. We'll try again. It's Angela. Angela, how many profiles and IDs and things do you have?
Yeah.
My name's in a 50p piece, Steve. I'm getting confused here.
About her, him, it. Gone on the watch list.
What? From Funk Star. Christina is in the house of the Miller family, and we've got
Mr. Barnes.
You see, yeah. Chin chin to Mickey Finn. What? I see Michael, yeah, there. IOV Creator has deleted his 2 videos. Has he? I don't know. We'll have to see about that and ask him then. I know he had 730 scribes before we come on. Yes, we'll see. Maybe they were old and not relevant to the channel. Brother Steve's just gone into the scribing list there. Oi.
Mr. Steve, all right, Steve.
Well, there's no Mr.
Not
there.
Andy, but
I don't know.
Steve.
Just
This
Steve.
isn't Andy.
No. You what, Kev?
I was just saying Steve McRae's in the house. I was just saying he just said hello, Dave and Andy. I said hello, Steve, but it's not Andy.
Yeah, he'll be in a bit. Thank you, brother. And I always won. I did have a little notification about a video called The Lie. I watched it up until where he was on about 3 trusts, and I had a phone call, and it didn't proceed. I forgot it. You know how it is, Kev. You're doing a job, phone call comes in, and that's the last of that job you'll ever do.
Yeah, that's about right.
How's your day been? How's your Sunday weekend been? All good? Nice?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been all right. Nice and sort of relatively chilled. Say the other half went over to see her brother because it's her nephew's birthday. So yeah, it's just so she came back in bearing food, which is always a good sign. But yeah, just chilled out. No real dramas today. I had them Friday and Saturday, so I had a day off today. But yeah, it's all good, mate. It's all good.
Yes, the family land, the pooches, everyone's where they should be, how they should be. Good.
Yep. Surrounded by cats at the moment. Dogs are in bed. Got cats all sitting around me outside now.
All right, my man. All right then. So, anything you'd like to? Any topics of late? I'd like to say that we did forewarn that there'd be a hangout with us lots having an update. I've given the link to. I haven't passed it to Josh. I'll do that in a minute to you and Andy. I've spoken to Josh just recently. He's given me an update of epic proportions in news and what he's planning and his own personal stuff that he's going to bring to you himself. But I've just spoke to him and he said he'll see where he is in a bit and he'll join us and I'll send him the link. Remind me. All right. So is there anything? This morning, did you see I was on about assets? Registration. Anybody that's got any, I don't know where to start, but anybody that's got any experience of separation and going to mediation and going through the courts and having an experience in the court where you go down and you fight for access, and was it a clean access battle? They're often called battles, court cases and battles where there's mudslinging and the children, we'll reference them children, but we mean assets, sons and daughters. The children are used as weapons by untruths being told by one of the mother or father. The parents, the legal title owners there are trying to battle for what is custody, albeit they can't get the custody because they've got the legal possessory title. But in the realm of reality, they are the creators of that and they have ultimate reign. So these are the topics that I mentioned this morning. Then I quite, starkly contrasted that to a registration of 4 wheels and some iron panels and a block there with an iron horsepower regulatory setup transmission system. That's your iron horse and car. You register that and you hand over the legal titles and the allodial title, should I say, and get back the legal titles. And these are the Regina registration trust transfer by endorsement. You endorse that document, okay, with your signature, albeit without the liability and with liability and not reserving. And when you sign and you send and you enforce and you do it in full public, with the liability as the Mr. Full general public, then you transfer that title. It's a non-disclosed setup there, agreement. So much like the credit, when you get your money, your bank, your birth certificate, your passport, your driving license, generally anything from the Club of Rome there, it's all not as it seems. So Kev, over to you, brother. Anything you want to bounce back with, be my guest.
Yeah, I was just going to come back with "Go Home, Club of Rome." This needs to be my favourite saying I've picked up from you recently.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, we know what it's all about, and what their game is, and they don't like us engaging with them over it, do they? As there's been many experiences, once you know what you're doing, they still don't like it and try and carry on with their clandestine plans as much as possible. As I say, we've just been sort of jumping in, trying to help somebody out. A little bit late in the day, I might add, but what can you do? You can only sort of speak and give a few thoughts, can't you? And say, if this was I in that place,
it's not such a bad thing if everybody, when they get, you can represent using paperwork. Paperwork can procedure. You can get stuff in and signed instead of going in place of the paperwork or going down and via special appearance in a non-representative capacity. And then you could reference the paperwork whilst you're there. And there are many and various things that we can do. But ultimately, why wouldn't one? Man, I, you, we, the party there. Why wouldn't we say, I'm here today by special appearance in a non-representative capacity? We wish and require for an immediate adjournment of these proceedings because I need time to prepare the you know, the defence and the, you know, the management of the claim here. So if it's what you wish and require immediately from the offset for especially a criminal one. You'd never go in and just answer to a criminal one straight up without you know, the correct arsenal, affidavit, unrebutted, stands as, you know, truth and you know, bosh, they can't argue with. So there's certain techniques which we've got, which at first in the long term, in the beginning, 2015, 2016, we ran away from because it was legal, it was instrumentation and process. Due process is law, it's not legal. Their system is a corporate policy, much like the government of the United Kingdom. It's a corporation called the government of the United Kingdom. It's not the government of the United Kingdom, and the courts are simply businesses, especially going to where are we going here? We're going to a county, are we, to talk about equity within a mortgage, Kev? Please. For real?
That's where we were, yes. We went.
Incredible.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me. It's funniest thing for me was all the paperwork preceded us, and in we went. Nobody was asked to identify themselves, not even the defendant. Nobody was asked name, address, or anything. They totally avoided that. It was really funny, really funny. So, private business meeting, that's all that went on there. Yeah, it's just, as I say, it was just weird. And we've got independent witnesses to the fact nobody was asked to identify or sworn in or absolutely nothing. And I've got a feeling that's because the paperwork preceded it and they knew exactly where it was going to go. So they avoided it altogether. But yeah, it's funny to see them squirm. Don't get you anywhere, but it's nice to see.
So rather than, yes, I hear what you're saying, and thank you for your comments. It is, if they're going to try and get something, then let's make them work for it rather than, resistance can be futile in some cases, but it is nice to hear that, Kev. And it is not always advantageous to try and take on a case, and win it straight away without asking for some time to go and get property. You might require, if you've been held in custody and you've just been brought up from custody into the dock and you haven't got such instruments and conveyances at your, at your disposal, then you might want to say, oh, pal, when I was abducted and detained against my will and whatnot, incarcerated here and damaged, I had documents on me. They're not there. Is that Brother Andy that's just eye off? Are we in the house? Hello there.
Bonjour, brothers and sisters and children. Thank you for waiting for me. Sorry for being late. It's I've been stuck on the road. Here we go.
All right, Andy.
Can I just say you're welcome. You're very welcome, brother, and you're worth waiting for because we are worth it, and you're worth the wait. And have you got anything to say about not that you've been brought up from custody into a courtroom and required evidence, property to use as evidence or to help you with the claims and defence there, but have you got anything? I believe you may have got some reference of a memory where you may have called for something, and this isn't foreign, is it? We're just explaining that if you haven't got much notice to get yourself down to the place of business there where the entity's summons, then you want to try and deflect it. And it's not always a bad suggestion to try and prepare properly. And if you haven't got things with you that you may need because you've been detained, then you may require them, and you should have access to that. Would you not agree or concur?
Yes, absolutely. What we would say as your person or your private conveyance or your instrument to implement, you'd need your person with you to demonstrate at court for and on the record that they are there. However, if you can't demonstrate that with your property, you would require an adjournment until such as a time whereby you could produce any said property that's an attribute to you in your suit in your case.
Yeah. Perfect. How are you, Andy?
I'm fine, thank you. Kev, how are you, brother? So I've not spoke to you for a little while, mate. I've been busy backstage doing my own private affairs and whatnot, but it's nice to hear your voice, mate, and I hope you're well.
No, so yeah, not bad. I've got to apologise to you. I've been meaning to give you a call, just have a little private catch up, mate, which we'll try and facilitate that this week, just as we haven't had much conversation in the private for a little while, so it'd be nice to have a little chat with your brother sometime this week if you're around.
Yeah, no problem, mate. I've got nothing but time on my hands at the moment. I'm currently self-unemployed and Although I'm a very busy man, I can definitely squeeze you in, mate. So it is what it is, you know. I'm trying to make the best of a bad situation. I'm sure that you'll come in delightfully for that. I can scoff you all up in one.
Yeah, I like it when you squeeze me in, Andy. Am I bringing the Vaseline this week or what?
Anyway, back to the
Call him, Kev. You bugger.
I can't help it, my child.
property of corporation.
Even the courts say that.
So the book that's been produced is being published tomorrow. Man's Mirror Image in Person. Have a little look out for it.
Have a little look. Don't just be dropping that in like it's
Check him out.
every day occurrence. Say that.
Check him out.
Look at this. Well, congratulations.
I
Unbelievable.
just dropped a little publication in there, kids. Just a little mention on the way.
Yeah. How long has he been on? He's been here 12 minutes.
Check him out. He don't waste any.
What's the title called again? I think I like the sound of that. Can I have that title again, please, my lord?
Yeah, me, Lord, or you, Lord. I have entitled the publication "Man's Mirror Image in Person."
That's why I said, my lord, because we are mirror image. And wow, yes, excellent. And it's finished. It's being published. Is there right? So links for distribution will come from your channel at some point, or through the .com we can do it through, or have you got an email or something? Is there anything from Abel?
Yeah, we can. Abel was doing it. I think Gobby's looking at getting a UK publisher. We'll call it a UK publisher because it's all corporate. But we can certainly, you know, put links for it on the .com and things if you wish to, Dave. No problem.
Yeah. You're at 7:30 on Scribe list, aren't you, Count? So that's going up nicely, but not quite. Yeah, you won't be able to. You can't. You can make a video, and then once you've done your video and saved it on your phone, you can upload it to your channel, and that you can announce, but indirectly. And
it's not the same though as being live and doing questions and answers, is it? You know.
One of the scribes has mentioned that your videos have gone off your channel. Have you deleted them by any chance?
Everything's gone off at the moment, mate, because I'm going to start afresh. There was only one on there with the first 2 chapters of Genesis anyway, so I'll quickly brush over those again and do it right fresh from the start. I've been speaking to a chappie who can do all sorts of clip art in the background and do things for me to make it look good on screen. So I'm going to wait and endeavour to do that. So it's a better watch and it's a better listen, and it's more instructive and obviously easier for man to take in. So that we're going to do that.
Oh, hey, so it sounds like we're getting professional here, Kev.
Oi. Us up the road soon, then.
I'll be with you.
I mean, no peasants. Sorry, peasants, no more. I'm an author.
Bless it. I want to just say I did cast this morning and give some advance notice for anybody that's got interest or issues or confusion or wants to chat about. There was a push in the news last week for parental alienation, the terminology, the language of the bar, the actions of these barristers down there, family courts. And I wanted to I'm going to scan the room in a bit and see if there's anybody that's had any experience there, good or bad. I don't suppose there's going to be much good. Mums and dads, parents using the offspring as weapons, telling lies, making stuff up. It gets quite horrendous, to be fair. So last week there was somewhere in the day, probably Wednesday-ish, I did cotton on that there was a march on in London and parental alienation, ostracised. Anything like that. You've got some history that these scribes mostly know about it, but again, just because you're a man with a big heart and a family there. Anything to input on any of that, please?
Oh, there's much, isn't there, mate, that you can go on that jurisdiction of law, and it's very tricky when it's private like that. It's much he said, she said, and the asset or the property is actually put by the side a moment while they sort out private squabbles about who said, he said, she said, and it's very messy and very intricate, and very painful for both sides. So it's forgotten of how to enact correctly for start off and why they're really there. So it is very difficult realm, Dave. It's a very difficult thing to speak of, but it's each to their own. But it's a private setting, it's a private jurisdiction, and you better know what you're doing when you go there. Even if you're going to get represented or whatever else, you're in trouble anyway. So you've got to know what you're doing. You've got to know thyself. I'll keep bringing it back to know thyself, and you have to know thyself before you go into these realms. For goodness sake, don't go in half-hearted or half-cocked, as they say, because you can get shot out the water.
Yeah, it's not nice. It's not a nice game, is it? Kev, go on. Off you go, bro.
Yeah, I was going to say that, stand in your ground, be polite, but don't get diverted. It's tough. It's tough, especially
It's horrible.
if you.
It's horrible.
Yeah, it's not nice.
I took the custody, and I'd done this in 1997. I started this, okay, and it took me till 1999 to really get my head into it and whatnot, and I didn't get my day in court until 2001. So a lot happens in life in between. Life gets a grip of you. Life gets a grip of the offspring. All these adverse things can be brought to your environment, bringing adverse reaction, because man isn't giving himself time to respond adequately. And this is where it's all going wrong. It's the action of man that's setting it all wrong, because the bitter, twisted resentfulness that's held within, So to know thyself is paramount, and it will save a lot of heartache, time, money, and everything, and a heartache for the offspring of watching this go on between the pair that rent from the estate. Know thyself.
Absolutely, mate. Well said. That's the important thing.
The 21st of February 2001 was my day in court, and I actually got a commendation from the judge himself on how I'd diligently done my work and come to do what I'd done, and he wished there was more fathers like me. And the man about brought a tear to my eye. It'd taken me 2 years to get to that stage,
Yeah.
And he could see that I was who I was, and I'd done what I'd done, and he spoke to me as man, as a gentleman, and you only get out what you put in. So we're to be responsible, and we're to apply ourselves where's necessary, and even where isn't necessary, because you get the whole truth and nothing but the truth that way. And that's how I've applied myself, and we can all do it. We're all in my reflection. I'm nothing special. I'm just a stupid, thick in the arm, thick in the head lorry driver. That proves anybody can do this stuff.
That's it.
Yeah.
I concur. That's it. It's having the you did the right thing without knowing what the right thing was. It felt right, and you were guided by your emotions and your love for your property, your children, assets, and it paid off for you. Where I went to the bar to a solicitor, and when it got to the higher court and it went to the Crowns, it soon then requires a barrister and a different presentation. And I was quite young and naive at the time, and I learned stuff afterwards. So I don't want this to happen again to other fathers, and mums as well. Mums and dads, fathers play tricks and the mothers will play tricks. It's I don't know, it's square and round. And don't forget, lest we not forget, some of us, I've come from they say broken families. The family's not broken. It's just not a normal, typical 2-point, whatever, and the Joneses set up. But fathers being estranged is a thing that Andy, Kevin will not be, foreign to. It's not a common, it's not uncommon for us to. It's normal for man's family to break up and not stay together than stay together. More folk and families break up than actually stay together. So in the normality, it's normal to break up, even though it's not really normal, if you know what I mean, in the true sense of normal to break up. You should stay together as a family unit. So it's not so many families that do have the luxury of staying together, man and wife married, 40, 60 years, leather, such and such anniversaries. And so we have a society now which is full of broken homed, if you pardon that, I've just explained that they're not broken, but that's just so you get it. They're from a broken home allegedly area, and they've had a family of their own, and now they're trying to, mixed up and broken themselves, bring up more families that are broken, and it's just getting worse. It's like it's a spiral of nastiness, and each generation seems to get more aggressive, less, compassionate, more demanding, and like stabbings and shankings, and the weapons and the language and even the drugs that are out there. It's something where us men are going to have to, I'm afraid, stand up and fill the holes what the government and the legal law system, through its assumptions and presumptions, and our brothers' non-disclosure to it. We've got a lot of work with regards to protection, rights, morality, and enforcing the rule of law, where we could help oversee a corrupt system and give out this basic knowledge where we can get others in a capacity of to help, and manage, because the children, the assets are why I got into this. And I know Andy was in Fathers for Justice. PCNs and council tax mean nothing when it comes to families, mums and dads, forced adoption, and everything else like that. I'll take a breath. Sorry, boys. I'll take a breath.
Yeah, one realm I haven't been involved in, family side of things, which is a good thing. But I appreciate where you both came from, sort of where it led you to where you are now, sort of thing, in a roundabout way.
Mate, I was straight in at the deep end, mate, feet first. I had no clue of the length of the journey and the depth of the heartstrings that would be tugged at. The emotional roller coaster and everything that's involved. It's one hell of a journey, allow me to tell you. Nothing is easy. Nothing is easy. And you only get out what you put in, and it's as simple as that, mate.
Yeah. I agree, mate. As I say, that's not an area. Obviously, I've read plenty, and I know what goes on in the family courts, etc., etc. So I don't envy either of you your journey through that. Whether you
it's because each mum and dad have the attachment to the property, and you can't detach whilst you're talking in a legal realm.
Yeah,
we're talking flesh and blood here. Not bonded to anything or any man, and yet they are speaking that way. It's very difficult for you to see the propositions of your children being spaketh that way, all for profit. Yeah. And the deal isn't the best deal for the offspring. It's the best deal for the bankers.
Absolutely, mate.
That's what's going on here.
Yeah.
We create
for the banks. That's end of story.
I sired with the mum, the dad and the mum sire and father, mother carries for 9 months, and there's no interface from any government agent office. Yeah, there might be some benefits and aid and tokens and setup given. There is Andy, the midwife, yes, the midwifery, the wife of the middle, the husbandry role. This is where the ball starts rolling. They've got the military ward set up, and they've got their stamping and bonding and blood taking. Steve, very interesting. Thank you, Brother McRae, about the
look at the belt buckle. Go look at the belt book of the midwife and have a look what it says on there. See what it shows you. Have a look at the symbols. It is what it is, mate. And the middle wife will assume the husbandry role for the state. They assume the state title on you.
Very interesting, isn't it?
They take over, whereby they assume the husband of the house to be the father of the house, and the wife to be the daughter. And anything of the offspring, they assume the assets and property of, and that's why they take the soul. They take the soul print, or they take the DNA now from the back of the ankle. They're taking your soul that way, and that's how they proclaim to own you.
Steve's video called The Lie, that is, I've only watched like halfway maybe, I can't remember, then the phone rang. I got to the point where he said about the blood and the 3 lots they take, and it seems to have changed since then, and he was quite surprised if he hadn't seen it for himself. And the 3 trusts and the 3 crowns, what we brought out in the Sovereign Masters Guild publications and our videos and chats, and seems to be getting quite common knowledge now, the Master Trust and the Eterni Regis Convocation, Unum Sanctums we're talking about here, Ecclesiastes, and the proclamations, the papal papacy's proclamations there. So it starts there. You've got then the registration, the general, the military general that will register. You've got the clearing banks in London setting stuff up. You've got them over in Europe, international tax numbers, employee identification numbers. Everything's assigned. You're pigeonholed, and then at the age of 7 comes to the fact where nobody's claimed the titles. The claim of rights been handed over at the registration by the informants. The mum and the dad have informed on the family. The state comes and takes over at the age of 7. There must be a death certificate issued somewhere, possibly land registry kept of, certificate of extracts, and bonded up. Off you go at 7 onto the sea. Set sail. Off you go. You are now current on the sea. It's insane. It really is, and it doesn't make it just. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it proper. But we're going back to the land, and this is the way. And these titles and properties are non-disclosed. So when you find out about them, you just reset them, don't you, Andy Kev? That's all we do.
Yes, please.
Even though we got past 7, it doesn't mean to say you can't unbond. You can't stop man from unbonding. So what we're talking here is now, as Andy eloquently put it, you don't talk in a courtroom about property as if it's a paper bond instrument. It's your blood. You've created that. You should have had a moment of love or several moments of love making to create it. So it's how much it means to you. It's not like a block of gold or a Ferrari or something that you think you love. You love your blood and your family. So that's when you realise in the courtroom. And if you can't find the words to tell the judge that you love your son or your daughter, you might lose them. How wrong is that? You shouldn't have to find the words. You should be able to stand there and testify and say that's enough. But unfortunately, it is not.
21st of February, mate, 10 a.m. 2001. Inside, I was shaking to the core, from my head to the bottom of my boots. I was shaking, but externally, I held myself together. I held my thoughts. I held my passion. I held what I was there for. I wasn't there for malice. I wasn't there for vexation. I wasn't there for frivolous behaviour. I was there for fact and that which is right. And that's all. And if you can prove the facts and that which is right, and you will have a nice day. And that's all you've got to do. It's as simple as that. Fact negates fiction. You will always put a wrong right if you have the facts. It's as simple as that.
Well, thank you for that, sharing that information. That was mighty fine of you to share. And I will say that when the mother and I of my two boys was fighting for custody and it went up to the High Court, there was mudslinging, and I, man, had to give every 2 weeks urine sample at a place called Kickstart in Sheffield, which is a drug rehabilitation program for hardcore drug addicts on heroin, cocaine, methadone, treatment courses and all of that. I had to go in there because they've got the facilities to go and wee in a pot and test the wee. We did that for 2 weeks, for 6 months, near enough 9 months probably. I had to go and give Triotech hair samples to be DNA tested from various parts of my body. I jumped through the hoops. I went through the wait. So I'll lose my flow. I jumped through the hoops. I went through the system. I spent 2 years and 20 grand shitting my pants that this judge might say, no, you can't see your blood. You're a bad dad. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not a bad dad. Yeah, I smoked a bit of weed because I was a bit mixed up when I was younger. I'm not a criminal. Sugar's a drug. You give that your child at 2, Famalands. Yes. You tell your kids lies, your offspring's lies about fairies, about tooth fairies, about Father Christmas. We're lying to them at early ages and we're poisoning them and we're mixed up ourselves. And I got a court writ to say, David, you're a good lad. You're not a criminal. You're not a drug addict. Here's a writ. You are authorized to see your blood. The judge authorized me to see my blood and give me a writ, of which I've chucked away because I was furious with the pompousness of it. So I too have shit myself and jumped through hoops and been called and alleged in public to be a bad dad in front of the neighbours and everybody. And you sometimes you feel like checking out and you feel like just it's too hard and it's too much effort and everybody knows your business and you're a private man, believe it or not, talking on YouTube years later, but yeah, a private man and quite shy and timid in a ways like that with family. And some fathers can't deal with it and they just check out because fathers are indispensable. There's many of them. The mum gets benefits, gets a house, gets looked after, gets this. I'm not picking on you, but the dad gets a rough deal most of the time. The law favours the mum. It's geared up for the mum. That's Fathers for Justice stepping in back in the day, Andy, trying to change that. So
yes,
it's a big old system. It is. It's a big old system. I yield.
Mate, it was. I started 1997, and 1999, 25th of April, I'd done exactly that. Luckily, I had my bacon saved, and it is what it is. It was very painful times back then. It was just my 20th anniversary there the other day of being alive, and I cherish every moment. I have some beautiful, loved people around me at the moment. I'm in a good place, and what is, and I can only pray and have faith that I have positivity going forward. I have been through some shitty times, as we all have, but it is what it is. Faith prevails, and hold it strong, and within it's all we have, within ourselves. No one else can give it to you. It's within us all. And I stood strong that day in court when I had my moment, mate, through my own faith and my own belief, and I got my own relief. And then I turned a new leaf for my children, and they're still with me to this day. God bless them. And they've turned out beautifully, and I'm very, very proud of their achievements, and of mine as too. I've only just started to realise my own achievements through all of this, and pain and heartache, and it's a beautiful thing, and it's worth it. It's worth every minute I've done. I'll do it all again. I'll tell you that now.
Fair play, Andy, mate.
It is what it is, mate.
It's fearful. They have secret doors. They wear black. They use Black's law. They speak in another language. You don't know what's going off. They, they are a foreign. They mean well. They're not on purposely. But the judges, with Kevin, we were saying earlier, weren't we? Me and Kev were talking to a brother about a possible attendance tomorrow, and we're saying about the judges when they get like loud and they start getting offensive and they start shouting and they start insinuating and what did we say, Kev? I'll let you carry on. What we said, go on. You said it, so you can repeat it.
Basically said, asked the guy in a nice way, "Excuse me, sir, I don't understand the vexation. Why, could you explain why you're getting so annoyed? Is this a personal issue between you and I that I'm not aware of? Please, could you explain your behaviour?" That's what I'd be saying to the guy in a nice way. Calm down, you wanker. But it's true. But it's easy to say it here and now.
Yeah, you
but
can't.
But I mean, to be fair, the guy we were talking to earlier, I mean, ideal world, we could have done with speaking to him 2 weeks ago, but it didn't pan out that way, and that's nothing to do with us, but as such. But it's very difficult trying to give something to somebody that's never done it before and is in a really precarious situation with these effects.
Yeah, we give him the basics. You can't
Something
go.
I don't advocate. You don't get that far into trouble and then start trying to learn the law. You learn the law and then you apply it correctly. Ignorance of the law is no defence. You don't ignore everybody. You don't pay your debts and you bury your head in the sand, and then hopefully on a Friday afternoon someone's going to learn you enough law to get you out of that amount of trouble on Monday morning. It's an absolute farce.
What's happened here? Yeah, he's come through the .com and he's asked to speak to us because he's had some information come to light. He's had a notice be served late. So, under due process, the courts there shouldn't be sending legal offers of business to contract under appointments of some summonses through the domestic post. So what's happened here, brother, is that man's got the summons for the event, and basically he has ignored, and he hasn't. You're right. He has left it a bit late, and he's got this notification come through. Yeah, and he's come through late, so he wants to know his options. He's not wanting to. He knows he's undrawn and quartered, and he's just thinking, well, is there anything I can do? And so he said, is there anything extra? He doesn't expect us to advise him and save the day. He just wants to arm himself. Yeah, he hasn't come through and said, here, I want you to save me. He said, I've heard you guys know the patter, and I'm going to do this. Is there anything extra? And then we're like, yeah, okay, then yeah, it is a bit late, but we will help you. There is things you can do. So yeah, it's not always they come and they decide to fight. It's just that they find us late, or we're not educated, are we? We're indoctrinated, and when they find out they're going to do one thing and then they hear on the grapevine another, and they're like, well, I've heard that before. I thought that was rubbish. And they come out and they have another look. What's this? What's bills of exchange? What's transfer via endorsement? What's creditor? What's this instrument and conveyance you're on about? What's contract and law? Hang on a minute. It's well, I'm about to do this. And then we just say, well, these are your options. This is what we know. This is what's effective and what we've got that works. And this is what doesn't. And this is where we was. And this is where we are. And if you don't know X, Y, and Z, this will help. So, yeah.
Just going back to what Andy said, he's right. You're absolutely right, Andy. A lot of these people, it's oh my God, I'm writing the shit. I want an instant out, or what they assume, is an instant out, and that's all it's about. They just want this thing dealt with, and then it's just not like that. You just can't do it. it's impossible, as you say, to come in and knock it out on a Friday afternoon.
That's right.
So
I'm just going to read. I'm going to read a couple of chapters out of my book here. See what you think to this. It's quite relevant to what we speak of. We give thanks to God always for you all, making mention of you in our prayers, remembering without ceasing your work of faith and labour of love and patience of hope in our Lord Jesus Christ in the sight of God and our Father, knowing, brethren beloved, your election of God. For our gospel came not unto you in only words, but also in power, and in the Holy Ghost, and in much assurance, and ye know what manner of men we were among you for your sake. And you become followers of us, and as of the Lord, having received the word in much affection, with joy and of the Holy Ghost, so that ye were ensamples to all that believe in Macedonia and Achaia. For from sounded out of the word of the Lord not only the Macedonia and Achaia, but also every place for your faith to God, word is spread abroad, so that we need not to speak of anything. For they themselves shew of us what manner of entering in we had unto you, and how ye turned to God from idols to serve the living and true God, and to wait for his Son from heaven, whom he raised from the dead, even Jesus, which delivered us from the wrath to come. Now that is one powerful body of text. That speaks of everything right there to me. I can tell you what I think that means, what my perception is of that. But you tell me what you think of what I've just read to you.
Can I let me please, Kev? I like the bit. What that means to me is when you turn from the idols to the true living God, you are saying, "Go home, Club of Rome. We found the true faith, the true way, the old ways." The Club of Rome is going home. We're going from the city corporate of London and the Babylon, exit, Brexit, EU, Babylon, exit, get out of her, my people. If you don't want to share in with her sins, so for me, Andy, that bit there tells me where we're at now and what we're doing and how we're doing it. And I forgot the beginning bit, to be honest. I need it again. Kev, over to you. I got giddy. Over to you, brother. Thank you, Andy.
Must put my mic on.
There you go, mate. It is exactly that. It's what we're not to idolize, we're not to idolate, we're not to worship. And for the godly is goodly. Godly is within us. We are all godly. We choose to hate and we choose to be negative. It's a taught behavior. And so to stand up and be live as God, as reflected in the image of the Creator, and when you can speaketh that text that way, with that power of the commandment, then it can't be revoked and it can't be rebutted from you. It is what it is. And once you can stand under what it means and then reverberate it word for word with the full comprehension of the weight of it, you cannot go wrong. This is the legal construct right here. It's for every man to take home and be with. And once you comprehend that, you will have some relief from your belief. Because without belief, you have nothing. You don't have the trust, you don't have anything. And everything around you is trust. It's all equity and trust. And until you believe that, you're not going to get anywhere. Over to you, Mike.
Yeah, it is. It's uniforms. Uniforms are everywhere. We've got uniformed officers. We've got men in offices. We've got executives of corporations. We've got presidents of corporations that are appointed, but they get voted in this instance. We've got a lot going off here, and the trust is the key there. There's many and various trusts within trust, but we have the trust of what is right. These exoduses of the past that we read of in this predominantly Christian nation, and the way that it's gone off there. When you say this book, I don't know if you're on about the New Testament, the Old Testament. I think you're on about the King James 11 authorized version that you've got there. That's when, if anybody's new to this, and where we've heard Andy say this book, the book he's on about is what book, Andy?
It is there. It's the King James Version, 1611. And I'm just going to read you something here now from this book, and it's the book of John that's contained within it. Chapter 1. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and darkness comprehended it not. There was a man sent from God, whose name was John. The same came from a witness, to bear witness of the light, that all men through him might believe. He was not that light, but was sent to bear witness of that light. That was the true light, which lighteth every man that cometh into the world. See, a very short sentence there, but it says so much to me. And once you can comprehend it, once you are in the light, darkness is comprehended not. It speaks here. And that's the Christ consciousness. That's the love heart vibrative resonance that I passionately speak from. And that's why I totally get this, because you have to have that open-hearted and open-mindedness to see what this is saying to us. You have to fully embrace it as the body of text into your body. You have to feel it and see it so you can reverberate it in the passionate manner that's required. Otherwise, you're not going to get it. I could read you the whole book, and if I don't give you the perception, you're not going to get it, are you? You know, it is what it is. We're to put it in our own work. It's not easy, but it's doable. I've done it, and the next man can do it. We can help each other.
Thousands have done it and found it, the inspiration and the pathway, and it's down to interpretation. Like many things, we've tried bringing YouTube over to the trust and equity side for some time now, and we are winning, and they are getting where we're at. And you said something there. Let's just put a pin in everything. In the beginning, there was the Word. Now, many civilizations, Aborigines, and I'm not going to go through them all, think that the universe, the world, the solar system, was sung into existence, and the word is phonetical. The word, you get word and you put an L in it, you've got world. You get word, you put an S before word, you've got swords. Now this word, world, sword, swirling, whirling, Taurus thingy is very interesting to me. The phonic, the resonance, the Vesica Pisces, the mathematics, the numbering, and the way that you have this interpretive, lawful, legal Club of Rome, because there's Rome mentioned there many. It's not just Rome, but it comes from the numbers where with the centuries, the eras, and what we're going through here. We all know the story of Jesus and the
Israel and Galilee, it's all over, mate. Yes.
Yeah, it's sometimes it's quite shocking. Like once you left us speechless, you were like, "Hey, where are you?" And we was all just thinking. Brilliant, man. It's absolutely second to none, mate. First class. Thank you, brother. Any more you've got? Come, keep them rolling.
Psalms 86. Bow down thine ear, O Lord, hear me, for I am poor and needy. Preserve my soul, for I am holy, O thou my God. Save thy servant that trusteth in thee. Be merciful unto me, O Lord, for I cry unto thee daily. Rejoice the soul of my servant, for unto thee, O Lord, do I lift up my soul. For thy Lord art good and ready to forgive, and plenteous in mercy unto all them that call upon thee. Give ear, O Lord, unto my prayer, and attend to the voice of my supplications. In the day of my trouble I will call upon thee, for thou wilt answer me. Among the gods there is none like unto thee, O Lord, neither are there any works like unto thy works. All nations whom thou hast made shall come and worship before thee, O Lord, and shall glorify thy name. For thou art great, and doest wondrous things, and thou art God alone. Teach me thy way, O Lord, I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. I will praise thee, O Lord my God, with all my heart, and I will glorify thy name for evermore. For great is thy mercy toward me, and I that hast delivered my soul from the lowest hell. O God, the proud are risen against me, and the assemblies of violent men have sought after my soul, and have not set thee before them. But thou art, Lord, art a God full of compassion, and gracious, long-suffering, and plenteous, and mercy and truth. O turn unto me, and have mercy upon me. Give thy strength unto thy servant, and save the son of thine handmaid. Show me a token for thy good, that they which hate me may see it, and be ashamed, because thou, Lord, hast helped me and comforted me. There you go, Psalms 86. And when you speak of this, it's all within. When we are praying, when people say I'm praying, I don't call it praying. I manifest. I inwardly manifest. I think of these things. I inwardly have visions like we all do. We can envisage all of these things that we want plentiful in life. And that's what we're to do. That's what it's saying right there. For it is all within. If you are looking out, then you are without. Don't search out for anything. Don't search for love. Don't search for spirituality. Don't search for anything outside of the realm. For you will always be searching. You will always be without. Everything resides within. I start everything within. Know thyself. Those 3 words, I always bring it back to. Know thyself. And it's very important. And it's here in this book. The comprehension is here in this book, the book of life.
I got 3 words here for you now. When you was reading that, I don't mind telling everybody and you that I had Bob Marley, satisfy my soul. You know, as you was reading it, satisfy my, and it kept ringing in the word soul into it as well. It manifests in the soul, the vibration, the kundalini. To earn many nations and continents, there is many names, but there is a life force energy, the tripart, the mind, the body, the soul, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, Isis, Osiris, etc. You know, you've got in India, Vishnu, Brahma, and Dharma, is it? The God of creation is all the 3. We are the 3.
Yes.
We have got the 3, and it's right. Yeah, I can tell you, and I'm showing you, I'm documenting with the 111. It will not leave me alone. You hear it from Andy, hear it from me, hear it from others and scribes, and put your comments up. If you have synchronicity, you have what we call coincidence, where 2 things are coinciding in the divinity. It's not a Western thing where it's a coincidence. That disregard that. There is no such thing as coincidence. I refer you all now to a little thing called Murphy's Law. That little
Sod's
beauty.
law, Murphy's law.
Sod's law, Jack's, whatever you call it, you've got a name. Every nation knows that law. Universal laws, they are fixed, they are removable. And if you interface with this, it's a vibration, like the man says there, testify to you, a vibratory, losing the fear, sacrificing, giving something to somebody else and showing this system what we're on about. You need to engage with it, and when you engage with it, you have to go through tests. And when you effectively go through a test, this is my perspective, you get like a little bonus. So I can only explain it like Lotus Turbo Outrun on the Atari back in the day, where you had a clock and you set off racing and you went round the track, and if the time ran out before you got to the next finish line, you had to put more 50p's in. If you got to the finish line with time left, it went time extend, and you got to the next level, and you had to blast through that one and get through. You get what I'm saying? So every time you do well, in this realm, there are non-playable characters you will interface, like on Jumanji, where they go around on that bus and there's that bloke taking them around and they try to chat to him and he can only say a certain amount of script. You'll get that. They're called officers and trustees and agents. Yes, they're the Admiralty Maritime boat people. They're non-playable characters. They're not us, but they're there, and they're there to interface, and you'll tell them law to the face, and you'll tell them that's your property and you love it. But if you don't speak the right language and have the right color pen and paper and all this business, then it will fall on deaf ears. It's truly insane. But I've gone on a tangent. I'll come back in. It does work, and it is real. You have this faith, you have this vibration, you have this perplexity. So Hegelian dialect, Hermetic principles, they've known it for time and they've used it against us. Go into a church and praying on your knees in a lower vibratory level, begging for mercy and asking for, will get you nowhere. You stand up tall and you say, I am, and I am strong. Every day I'm getting better. I am the master of my realm, and certain things inwardly have it, own it, know it, find that strength, and you will break free. You will be the starburst that you are. I yield. Somebody bail. Kev, Andy. Sorry.
Yeah, Kev.
Kev's asleep.
I'm not asleep. I keep forgetting my mic. I keep turning my mic off in case I start coughing. And then all of a sudden I'm starting to speak and think, oh, yeah, you better turn that back on again. Might help. People can hear you then. Maybe it's better with it off.
Don't be like that.
No, what do you say? Give us some input. What's your brain saying? What your thoughts saying?
Right at this moment. No, I would say it's all confusion and trickery, and as I say, it's been going on so long. They're absolute craft, absolute artists at it. They've had a lot of experience with it all, and it's hard to unravel. That's why, as Andy was saying earlier again, it's why you can't just learn it in a day and then go and try and apply. It's no way. It's crazy to think like that.
No.
But a lot of people do expect it to be like that.
Yeah,
for some reason.
It's not a template. You can't get a template for this.
No. It took me 3 years of 18 hours a day learning to know what I know, to speak the words and language that I speak in the narrative that I do, and make it sound very easy and very natural. It's not easy, and it doesn't come naturally. You've got to work at it,
Yeah.
I can't even write a document without without trying to not use a capital. It's absolutely incredibly hard. I don't mind telling you. I try and write. I think I wrote out 5 bills of sale before I got it right. Back in that one that I shown earlier on the video, it's programming. It really is. Like, you think, oh yeah, it's easy, but as I've said with Bruce Lipton and Jack Fresco and other such prolific speakers that we've got of this modern time now, you are a product of your environment, and they know when you are 0 to 7, give me the child and I will show you the man. That's somebody evil that said that, to be fair. Quotation from, that's not me, but that's how they know how to program the offspring, the asset, up until 7. And then after 7, the theta and the beta brainwaves go to a different level, and you go into a different cognitive state where you learn by repetition. Example would be, remember learning to drive your first car, or learning to mount your first horse, iron horse, whatever it is you've learned, shooting, archery, whatever skill, computer lathe control systems, architecture, designing, whatever it is, you've learned it, you programmed it. You had to do it by repetition at college, at an alumni, as an alumni, and you got illuminated. At the end of it, you come out, you get your black gown on, you put your square around your neck, you put your mortarboard on, you get your certificate, and you celebrate being an illuminated alumni of the university. But you're not really illuminated and an alumni because you've read through the doctrine of the establishment's parameters, and there is more to it that, as we're trying to tell you, is extra parameters there as well. So it's all for the taking, as many have said, that have become prime ministers and elite corporation owners. Maybe Bill Gates, maybe Elon Musk, maybe Tony Blair. Quite a lot of presidents in America flunked out of school, didn't take the pathway of the programming, broke out of it, and used their brain, used their heart, knew that there was something else for them. They didn't know what, and they busted a move. Marks and Spencer's, 2 little whatever men with a little thing round the neck and a board selling exclusive shit. Now look at Marks and Spencer's. I'm not advertising them. It's just a good example of these things of which can happen. So you might start small. You've got to start somewhere, but start within, and know that your pathway is not set, and you can make it. With the decisions and the assets that are yours and the property that is yours. You are right to fight for it. Something's wrong, but do not pick a fight if you don't know how to battle, or if you're not protected. So example would be, I'm not paying my council tax and I live in a council house and I get benefits. Well, you're in rock, in a hard place. You get into arrears in that kind of situation, and the state has full control. So there are some of our family in these situations that are in bad arrears, financial disrepute. The universal credit system is totally messed up over Christmas. They've had drastic measures taken in. We've got loads of the government, shadow government, Security Council leaks. We've got whistleblowing. We've got jumping of ships. We've got Brexit being delayed. The nation, I'm not trying to scare them. I'm not trying to paint a nasty picture. I'm trying to be conservative here, but we've got a lot going on. The law system is not what we think. The money system's not what we think. And here we are. We got to
pull together and focus on what's important: our home, our property, our time, and our love. You know, that's where we're at. We can't get distracted with everything, but there is a big job and we do need help.
Yes. Are ye not then partial in yourselves, and are become judges of all evil thoughts? Hearken, my beloved brethren, hath not good God chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom, which he hath promised to them that will love him? But ye have despised the poor. Do not rich men oppress you, and draw you before the judgment seats? Do not have blasphemed that worthy name by which ye are called. If ye fulfill the royal law according to the scripture, thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself, ye do well. But if ye have respect to persons, ye commit sin, and are convinced of the law as transgressors. For whosoever shall keep the whole law, and yet offend in no one point, he is guilty of all. For he that said, do not commit adultery, said also, do not kill. Now if thou committed no adultery, yet if they kill, thou art become a transgressor of the law. So speak ye, and do so do, as ye that shall be judged by the law of liberty. For he shall have judgment without mercy, that hath showed no mercy, and mercy rejoiceth against judgment. What doth it profit, my brethren, through a man say he hath faith, and have not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister be naked, and destitute of daily food, and one of you say unto them, depart in peace, be ye warned and fulfilled, notwithstanding ye give them not those things which are needful in the body, which doth it profit? What does that say to you?
I'll tell you what it says to me. It says, know who you are, the power's within you. Don't listen to all these corporations and idiots telling you they've got some authority over you. You are the power. Believe it. That's chav for you. That's what I got out of that.
I'll read you something else. Let no man beguile you of your reward in a voluntary humility and worshipping of angels, intruding into those things which he hath not seen, vainly puffed up by his fleshly mind, and not holding the head, from which all the body by joints and bands having nourishment ministered and knit together, increaseth with the increase of God. Wherefore, if ye be dead with Christ from the rudiments of the world, why, as though living in the world, are ye subject to ordinances? Touch not, taste not, handle not, which all are to perish with the using, after the commandments and doctrines of men, which things have indeed a shew of wisdom in will worship and humility, and neglecting of the body, not in any honour to the satisfying of the flesh. And that's what it's saying to you there. Man can't, this Canaan can't hold judgment over you. It's over a person.
Yeah.
We are judged by the Creator, those that created us.
Yeah, that's what going to add on to the other bit, Andy, the bit about persons. If you're going to be a respecter of persons, then you'll get what's coming to you for doing so.
Well, if you are a respecter of the person, you have automatically transgressed into iniquity.
Yeah.
Or you are already speaking a foreign language.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst.
Den of iniquity, the den of thieves, the den of iniquity, the Club of Rome, London Corporation. There you go. Well said. Iniquity. What a word. Iniquity. Well, I love you, Andy. Yes, indeed. Sorry, I just put it in there and ruined it. You were transgressing away with your persons, and we're all equal, equality, arbitratory judge. Even in a high court realm, the judge is not a judge, is an administrator, judge, bank, Latin, bench. The clerk's in control. We can prove that. It's the clerk that's got the bond open. The bond is representative of the person. That's the key conveyance and instrument that they're drawing upon from the Treasury Direct routing side of it, whilst they're getting you, Famalan here, the tribes, clansmen, to try and get in that four-post poster, square box thing, enter into the contract to be salvaged by the Club of Rome and the boat people. Well, we say no. The persons, lest we not forget, he can cast judgment. Let he cast a stone who is not guilty of sin. You know what I mean? He can first cast that stone. Equality.
He without sin cast the
No
first
higher
stone, brother.
persons. Jesus kicking out the bankers. There's loads here to go on with this business. Yes, I. That's right. Here, here. Sorry.
All right, calm yourself down, brother. Calm yourself down.
Just grinding my teeth.
But with what I said earlier, I wanted to say that with the gravitas of the current various important situations at hand, it's a good job we have this book in Andy and God, because I, for one, don't know how I would reflect upon life's hellish situations that seem to be. I just want the scribes to know that I, Andy, Kevin, have some private background chats, and we have hope, we have we have light, we have wisdom, we have tools, we have information, experiences, but we want you to know that we're not doom and gloom here. We have remedy, we have pointed out, made videos, done this time and time again, so it's not a night of we are, and it's just nice to have that this additive, what you've got here is just it's like a little silky addition to a hot coffee. I'm a coffee fan, so I like my coffee dark, strong, sweet, flavored, big, and I'm a connoisseur of them. So you, Andy, have just added to my finest coffee of all coffees a little extra velvety undertone of some kind of relief, of some kind of the way that you bring it to and from. And others out there have got fear. They live in a realm of, and if we can try to look at the judges, the court, the book, the police, the charges, the council, the trustees and everything, and bring this back, we need to anchor man. And we've got lost in the paparazzi, the sea of the paper rats and everything else, this language and the you're in a constructed trust, but you don't need to know you're in one to be in one. And he who will be deceived be deceived. These kind of corporative rules of the Club of Rome and the City of London, the Temple Bar, is where we're at. And this Bible business, when you go to a court, it's a court, what they bring out a little black book there, whether it be civil or criminal, they are governed by the God and the higher courts. You'll have to swear an oath and so forth and attest either way somehow. And when these systems are run that way, then we can find the Father, Son and the Holy Ghost, the spirits and the words to repel their spells. Andy is a dispeller. Some say he's a magician, in the light of, he's not a magician. He's just got the language and the verbatim down to such a fine art, and the understanding of their language and what he speaketh of and whom he is. And it's truly eloquent to see some of the things that this man's done. So thank you, Andy, and I just want you to know that you are helping a great many with the way that you do that. So I see firsthand what it's doing, and it's been missing from this realm, this free man, lawful rebellion, and all that business. It's a surprise to me as it is to you, YouTube. So yeah, we give love and thanks for Brother Andy, is what I'm saying there.
Hey. No, I'm going to give you one word now. The word is art. A-R-T, nice and simple. 3 letters, art. And we're just going to read a little thing out, and that word art is in there. And let's see how prevalent it is, shall we? And it's just exactly what you've just spaketh of. So, millions of people never analyse themselves. Mentally, they are mechanical products of the factory of their own environment, preoccupied with breakfast, lunch and dinner, working and sleeping and going here and there to be entertained. They don't know what or why they are seeking, nor why they will never realise complete happiness and lasting satisfaction. By the evading of self-analysis, people go on being robots, conditioned by their environment. True self-analysis is the greatest art of progress. Know thyself. Self-analysis is the key. It's the awareness of the implications of that which you both spaketh and that which you action, because the ripple and knock-on effect are huge, and it's the awareness of that which you do and say, and the ripple effect of it is as simple to me. It's the awareness of yourself. Know thyself. Whether it's in malice or what you do, it's huge. You can do it with love and still cause malice to others with what you say. It's just the awareness of your words. It's your word against theirs. Be loving with your word, but you know, it's quite simply know what you say and say what you know. Mean what you say and say what you mean.
Oh, like in Sheffield, we say what we like and we like what we say.
And all that
Nothing
stuff.
wrong,
And all,
tell me.
you can't say
Depression.
what you like, though.
Listen,
You can't just say what you like, because
I,
man doesn't know what he's saying half the time. He's sending out spells and casting spells to
well, that was a
people,
joke.
all
That was
sorts of
just a pun.
consequences.
But yeah.
The sequences after the con, you know, of the language. They don't know. Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they say. That's where it comes from.
Forgive me, because for my cup it runneth over. No, that was just a joke of what they say in Sheffield, like when they're quite forthright, they speak from the heart. You know, strong in arm, thick in head. Strong in heart, thick in head, is it? That one, yeah.
Yeah, thick in arm, thick in head.
That's the one, yeah.
The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just that little extra. Ooh.
Depression. What I was going to say is, we've got an issue here with depression. I'm not. This is a bit sad time of the poo sandwich what you get with our hangouts, but we have got a nation of self-medicators. Give us a smiley face if you're not self-medicating, and give us a face with like a nice, what's that word now? There's a word, indifferent face if you are self-medicating. That can be organic self-medicating, that can be making your own wine and beer, that can be eating herbs and lifting yourself up in any way. It can be sugar, as we've said, given to a 2-year-old is the first introduction of a drug. A drug is something that the human body will take, and that it will end in a fatality. It will kill you. So cannabis, tetrahydrocannabinol, the cannabinoids and the THC will not kill man. So it's no longer, it never was, but in your mind and my mind, it can't be a drug because it won't kill you. A drug and a substance is something which will affect the human body and change its perception, heart rate, anything like that. So then you have substances, you have elements of the periodic table. And man's self-medicating. I'm sorry, I'm not stereotyping, but it is from Asia and the Chinese area and Eastern Europe that are synthesizing crazy drugs that man's taking now. And there's a film that I've seen a bit years ago where they throw somebody off a building and they give him a drug first, and it makes him see everything in slow motion, and they throw this man off this building rooftop and he sees his death coming in ultra slow motion. And I just think that Scotland, Edinburgh, Dundee, the family up there, we've done a call out for the new Sinn Féin in IRA. It's no wonder man's medicating, because we've got a government that's failing, so many doing so little for so long. Uncertainty and depression, Andy, Kev, is something what our family, whether they admit it or not, I've suffered with it. I've come through it eventually. I've been suicidal, and it's anything you can give them. What you're saying there is all about, in my mind, depression, fighting you might not know you've got it, a bit like anger management. You might not know you're angry. But then again, if you've not spoke to your missus and you keep finding your solutions in bottles of, beer and wine, then you've got a problem. So anything you can add, boys, to help with depression, self-medicating, anger, sadness, if you use mantras, Kev, if you've got anything you can add here, it'd be appreciated, Andy, also.
Yeah, well, I've been having a bit of a rough time of it for a few months now. It's been going on longer than that, but particularly the last few months. My thing at the moment is, obviously, if I feel that sort of, it's not depression, I can get very short-tempered when I get stressed and on top of the depression, if you like. So, but I've just been taking my time, literally deep breath, count to 10, and then everything's a lot better. But Friday went a bit wrong, sort of went sharply downhill Friday. But yeah, I just try and keep a check on it as much as I can. I have little things to do on this,
There's your number one awareness there, brother. You've just said it right there. If you're getting triggered, if you're getting stressed, you can feel yourself coming. That is your number one awareness there. It's your breath.
Yeah.
You're to take control of your own breathing. Make it a point. You're to breathe in and out successfully you're to do it. Don't let your body just take over. You're to be aware of every breath that you take. And that way you can control your steadiness and, keep your peace of mind. Because once you start giving it the mind chatter, you start getting vexatious. So
Yeah.
in the
And if
very,
you've
very
got
first
anxiety,
instance,
then you have panic attacks and you get hyped. They start taking like other way, and they start breathing fast and going like to pass out and hyperventilating. So there's different area. You're right there. That's like
your
the
breath.
panicky side, the
So-
anger side. Yeah.
because it's
And
all a
then-
part of knowing yourself. It's a part of mastering your mind. It's all a part of the journey. And, you know, trying to undermine who has mastered his mind, undermine a man who has mastered his mind is like putting a man in a cage who can teleport. You know,
Yeah.
it's all in the mind. It really is. And a depressive state is the mind thinking of yesterday or the day before.
Yeah.
Or the day before. It's always in the past.
blaming others, the blame game as well, not
Blaming is always in the
accepting.
past. It doesn't matter what you're blaming. It's always past tense. Anxiety is future tense. So the
Yeah.
future and the past can only ruin what you've really got now. So if you're going to suffer an anxiety or suffer a depressive state of mind, which are one's an imagination and one's a memory. So if you're going to suffer an imagination or memory, you're going to allow that, because to suffer is to allow, and you're only ruining the only time that we really have in life, and it's now.
Oh, self-inflicted torts. To suffer is to allow, and man shall not suffer a tort unless it's by proxy of your own illogical thinking. Whoa, that's some deep business there, actually. Yeah, all right, go on.
This is where I'm at with it. I know it's deep stuff, but I'm getting down to the nuts and bolts of things like I genuinely do with stuff, But the basic fact is, if you're going to suffer, that means you're going to allow.
Self-torture, yeah.
If you're going to allow yesterday's pain to continue today, well, then you are simply victimizing yourself and those around you. And if that makes you feel good, then carry on. But to carry that monkey on your back will be a painful journey for the rest of your life, the path that you walk. So we're not to let memories nor imaginations pain our today, which is all we've really truly got. Share the love resonance, baby. Let it out.
Yes, ching. I want some little ching chings.
Yeah. Little symbols in the background. Ting.
You remember them? Shout Karanga, was it? Them like you must have seen them. What were they now? I forget what they were called. They used to have little
Not
symbols.
the Krishna lot.
There you go. That's the
Krishna.
one.
Yeah.
I've seen them for a while. Where are the Krishnas? A shout out to the Krishnas. Andy, thank you for that, though. It's okay. I've got anything to bounce back with. Back on track.
Alpha waves in the human brain. Alpha waves in the human brain are between 6 and 8 hertz. The wave frequency of the human cavity resonates between 6 and 8 hertz. All the biological systems operate in the same frequency range.
Yes, they do.
The human brain's alpha waves function in this range, and the electrical resonance of the Earth is between 6 and 8 hertz. Thus, our entire biological system, the brain and the Earth itself, work on the same frequencies. If we can control that resonant system electronically, we can directly control the entire mental system of mankind. How's that?
That's numbers and beautiful. I like this. Yes, it's why I wear crystals and the certain things of quartz interactions, buildings, water, magnets, Tauruses, Tesla, many things. But yes, Andy, excellent. It's true alignment. The technological advantages we have with Wi-Fi, 5G.
When I'm stressed out,
5G,
when I'm stressed, mate, I'll control my breathing, get a hold of me breathing, and I'll take my shoes off and stuff, and I'll sit out on my front step of the front of my house with my feet firmly on the ground. And it takes about 10 minutes, and before you know where you're at, you're laughing at yourself for being a silly sausage.
Yes, I am, and also your feet get a nice breath. And when you stand up, if you're like me, you get don't shout out to the men that leave wet prints there on the concrete. Steaming socks. But the Wi-Fi, the 5G, and the warehousing, the buses, everything like that carry this you see, it's all gone mobile now. It's for your convenience. Honestly, it's not because it's a lower vibratory. Think about it. It's all over the streets now. You've got mobile 5G repeaters. You've got Wi-Fi modes in your pocket next to your ovaries and testicles, next to your stomach and intestines. You've got it at work on your headset. It's now built into cars. I'm not trying to scare you, but these
frequencies. What Andy's just said is what us indigos, crystals, light workers, rainbows, this is our number soup. We do number soups, and we look for patterns, and the numbers have an energy. They speak to us. Number 9, don't get me started on them. So yeah, these technological, like these Bluetooth headset that I just tested out earlier, that's got a Bluetooth radio frequency. You can guarantee it that when they invent it, they specifically put it between that bandwidth of which is going to interfere with the biorhythm of the human's body. So Wi-Fi routers, here's a tip: health and wealth styling, take it or leave it at your peril barrel. Your Wi-Fi router gives out a frequency around that bandwidth. Funnily enough, can you Adam and Eve it? You can go in to your Wi-Fi router and you can select a different channel. I don't know what you'll have a number 1 and a number 9, and you'll have a frequency on each of those, a different radio bandwidth. But you can guarantee that all of them frequency settings between number 1 and number 9 on all of your home routers, and I'm a tech weirdo, so I know this stuff, you can change. So if you have next door and they've got a Wi-Fi router and it's similar to yours, and they're both on that same number 5, you'll both interfere with each other because you'll have the radio interference. So what they say is, when you go through the telephone lines, oh, well, try one of these and it will eventually get better. And all of them settings are in that frequency of what Andy's just pointed out, the Hertzian ranges of our biorhythms, the mobile phones are, and everything else that's set up around us, fields, near field, technology pay, radio waves, all of the radio frequency you can't see in the sky. So my tip again to you is, you can't alter the frequency by changing that 1 to 9, because man had a look at doing that and realized it was all the same dead end. What you have to do is turn it on as little as you want and turn it off when you go to bed. You know, turn that router box off. If you sleep next to one, I suggest you don't do that, you know, and at school. And furthermore, there's been tests in the United Kingdom's academies and trusts. And I, for one, have looked into the Wi-Fi levels of radiation into the schools here and the trusts and the academies, because there is talk saying it frequency modulates the water and it affects the ladies, girls, teenage, young developing bodies, ability to have successful full-term pregnancies later in life, which by just chance would actually aid the alleged world agenda by 2030. See Rick Mail and Diane Jessie Miller with the 1 by 1 and other such productions of the agenda, Georgia Guidestones, etc. So boys, Andy, I'm sorry to go on a tangent there, but that's all relevant, and as I've seen it and researched it, and very apparent. So yeah, that all adds to illness, bad cells, cancer, depression, all the things that Joseph Goebbels, if he was still alive when he originally had the Hertzian range remodulated to 440 tube, you know all about that. He'd be loving all this. This is part of that agenda. Tavistock, MK, DARPA gone, you know, hybrid, so to speak. Nazis on acid. Shh, sorry. I yield. Attack of the Clones, which
Another road
went on there, but they get away with it legally. How do they do all that? Because it's legal. That's your legal realm for you. Oh, did you have a license?
Yeah.
Yes, we've got a license. Oh, well, then he's got a license to kill. 007 Sovereign Bond, you know.
That's
whatever.
all right. Yeah, he's paid for his license. We charged him a fee. It's all right. He can do what he wants.
We're all diplomats under the creator, homing it back in. Law, land, air and water, we have said. The land, air and water, we are of the land. We are trade, we are private. There is commerce out there, commercial, public commerce. That has the public liability. Legal tender, legal currency, 2 different things, very important to note. Then you've got your values, your intrinsic value, your boat people, your trust, your ecclesiast, your uniform and your commercial codes in the public. So this is your crux of it all, and it's not about being sovereign. I'll say it again. We need to focus on these key words: self-governing, which is the sovereign part, and private. You are private. You are to remain private. We will look at unilateral agreements or something if you are forced out of the private into the public against your wishes by officers, anybody that disrespects your rights. Your rights are your property, and if your rights are ignored, your property is ignored. Your property terrorism, crimes against, under the creator, you in the private, clean hands and honor. You won't even need to speak. Well, we've got some cards coming that you reserve your rights without opening your mouth. You can have documents, you can have evidence of life and essence. There's a lot happening this year. I envisage for all of us a great many triumphs and successes, smiles, laughs. I do believe there's a dance lined up in the field somewhere. Maybe we'll, have a conference again in the summertime, Famalan. I think that's needed. That's just to start with, So, yes, thank you. And I'm looking forward to it.
If you understand that everything is energy, you can also understand that everything you think, believe and feel consists of energy. Your attitude or focus vibrates, and those vibrations affect the quantum fields that underlie, constitute and determine the outcome of physical matter. Hence, your focus actually has the power to alter the appearance of your physical circumstances.
Nikolai, is it you? 3, 6 and 9, baby. I knew I've got more energy. I've got the energy of 10 men. I don't want it, but I was given my cup, runneth over. But it's true. Vibrations, energy, inwardly. It's hard to say when you're depressed and you're in the blackness. You do grow in the dark, but it's not somewhere to stay forever, is it? So
we grow in the dark. We learn in the dark. Most of our best lessons in life are in the dark because they're the most painful buggers. But when you do address and redress these things and recourse, you put yourself on another course, on a different path, you look back and think, well, what a great lesson that was. Or you can carry it around with you for the rest of your life like a big old burden on your back, victimizing yourself. And that's where you suffer the depression, from those memories, because you're suffering and you're allowing. That's where it's right out there, brother.
Yes, that's beautiful. And also I was talking to Brother Michael earlier of the Barnes clan, and I broke into a little bit of stereo MCs. I'm just going to go, hey, 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 hey. And it was, what was it now? Something like, gonna get myself connected. The writing's on the wall. That one, something about stumble and you might fall. It doesn't matter if you stumble and you might fall. The writing, it is on the wall. We are getting connected, and we're getting connected in many, many ways. And it's been written about in many formats. That's a recent one that just come to mind. It's of music. All right. If you are suffering from lower vibrationary, there is a way to hack into this system. Andy, Kevin, have got some ways and some functions. This is the health and wealth part of what we do. To what would we call it, boys? Could we could assist in we've got like mantras, we've got ways of changing diets, water, music, exercise, interaction on a social level. We've got quite a lot of ways to lift you up. There are ways to break out. If the matrix has you in a loop of despair and depression, then self-medicating, email David at spospro.com. We'll start a forum together, and we'll get some of our best and loving men and minds, women. We've got Kush to introduce and Jackie to bring onto the Famalan at some point soon when we get a minute as well, and outline this into, if you've overcome it, then we want to hear from you, because you can help assist the ones that need the help, that you can teach the techniques to, because once we've all been there and come out of it, there are techniques, aren't there? And if you can learn those techniques, breathing, for me, that's an issue. Let me tell you now, fam, as if you haven't guessed, but I don't breathe well. And to meditate for me is extremely hard. But when I get there, it's very, very rewarding. So I'll tell you now, that's an area I need to improve on. But it's a technique. And once you master it, it's very, very rewarding, is it not?
Indeed it is. To say there's a few things I've sort of changed, but especially thought patterns wise, and to recognise when you're sort of going down that road, and it's helped tremendously. I still, have the occasional time where I don't control it, but majority of the time. But yeah, it's very simple. It's just change habits and just learn. To say, as Andy confirmed, the breathing. That's the instant one. Take control of that. That's a major point there.
Your lungs, you can talk. That's easy for you to say.
Well, there you go. Yeah, took me a lot of breaths, but I said it.
Old iron lung.
Cool. Yeah.
Sorry, Kev.
If only they were. they're more like rotten old lace curtains now.
Like that
Oh,
scene
God.
from the something now. What's that garden with that table and that old lady? I'm just thinking of her now with that old dress on. That's your lungs, that is. Something. Andy, are you still with us, brother?
Bonjour.
Have you got anything else you'd like to? Because the scribes have missed you. You've been away and whatever. So I'd like to take the moment here, and because I've got the feeling it'll be goodbye and thank you soon. So have you got any updates or anything you'd like to bring or say, or anybody in particular you've been in touch with, or the book again? Anything outline avenues for that? Over to you, brother.
Yeah, well, there's nothing I can update you of at this time. I do have a couple of things going on privately. I have a couple of things going backstage, but none that can be disclosed at this time. So it is what it is. I can affirm or attest to you this day that I'm in the happiest place I've been for such a long time in my life, and I've been truly blessed. And I wish to thank all those around me for staying alongside and supporting me, and all those generous donations I've had from abroad because I've lost my license, and all these negatives I've had against me with nature and things. My brethren have stood alongside me and helped me out in so many ways, be it financial, be it through love and compassion and empathy and speaking with me and things. It's just come back to me tenfold. So I'm glad I've given what I've given. I'm glad I have the faith, and people can share my faith from the book, and it will bring resolve for you. It's as simple as that. It is what it is. I haven't written the book. I've just understood the bloody thing. So it is what it is, and I'm blessed, and those that can take it forward and get remedy with it shall be blessed too. It is what it is.
Yes, each have their own path, and you've got a loving family there. You've got a lot that have missed you. That's what I was saying when me and Kev came on last week. Kev and I tried to wing it without you and Josh, and we had a crack. It was a bit messy, weren't it, Kev? But we got there.
Yeah, it was messy.
They were asking, where's Andy? What's Andy doing? I just explained, nobody knows where you are, what you're doing, because as you said, it's all private and we're not authorised, permitted, and of that way. We are, private clansmen, family respectful. So I just wanted to give you the opportunity to say hello. And you've done that to the scribes. They were asking, and they know that we're a tight family unit, and if one of us is not present for whatever reason, they immediately go, "Hey, up, what's going down? We didn't see the memo. Come on!" And obviously, so thank you and much love.
Yeah, no problem, mate. At the end of the day, we've all got things to do. Life gets a grip of us sometimes, and this isn't easy. Life isn't easy. There's emotions in the air and things, and it is what it is. We've got to deal with what gets presented to us. And sometimes I just haven't got the time to come on air and talk of my faith and my belief and the wins and the losses and everything else that we have in life, because life just gets a grip. It's as simple as that. But I always endeavour to come on and share my love and my faith and read my gospel and do what's right and proper and my righteous path, because I'm not just a hearer of the word, I'm a doer. And that's what's important here, that we apply ourselves and be doers of the work. Walk the path that's laid before us. Don't stand idle, worshipping, idolating. Devil makes much work for idle hands. Keep moving forward. That's where we go here.
Yeah, technological, these games and apps and things, and help me with this, and it seems innocent at the time, but much like Fedbook and so forth, yes, it's surprising how a little innocent avenues end up in debt, in misery. It's surprising, the system, what's important to you, and you are a key part of the family. And we've done a lot. We've said everything. It's just there's a lot of scared family, anxious times at the minute, political unrest, insurgency, volatile, world stage. Everything is. I'm not trying to hype it up. It's just I could give you a list of the .com front pages. We've now expanded it to 9 stories. It's 3 at first, then it was 6, then it went to 9. I said, gee, I still need more space. There's too many. But not just political, lawful, custodial, judicial, Ministry of Justice, Kev, the independent Information Commissioner's Office, the trading standards, these DSARs, the fines that are going out, what's going off in the breaches of the Security Council, and that going to the Daily Telegraph. If the United Kingdom's Council of Security is not secure, then little chats on YouTube aren't going to fix nothing, but or even affect anything, because we have no security. See, it's incredible. So that's why they like to hear you, Kev, and just get together, because it gives them a little bit in these times of some kind of just right and proper. You know what I mean?
Justified, righteous and proper. If it's not justified, if you can't justify it, no justification, then it can't be righteous. If it's not righteous, and it can't be proper. So if you've got any one of those 3 missing, then you need to be asking the questions, don't we? Simple as that.
Yeah, I'm conscious of the time myself. I've got a morning start, early one, and I'm going to go. Just wanted to come on camera and go and have a look at the chat room, and I don't
say cheers, Mence. I've seen your message in there. Thanks, mate. Lux said, I think they're on their way out. Night to you. Thanks for joining us. Just a couple. That's right near the end, Dave, those ones. So if you're back a bit, I'm just going to start rolling backwards a little bit.
Yeah. Just going to get loaded up now. It's being slow.
That's your age.
It's not. It's interference on the media networks. We desperately need our own. I'm vibrant, young, and very fit. The multi-gym's paying off now. I'm bulking up, Andy. I'm happy to say I'm getting a bit, getting some boobies at last. It's going well. My age.
Yeah, he's definitely having a midlife crisis, Andy.
Yeah, please don't rope me into this, mate. Just talk to yourself, will you?
You started it, rope him in. You are the one that's proclaimed. Kev's innocent.
Oh, dear.
Kevin can do no wrong.
Dave's on the edge. Dave's right on the edge.
Give me strength.
Beautiful, mate. Absolutely beautiful.
Any questions? Is that it?
That shut him up, didn't it?
This is my concentration face.
You're so naughty, Kev, sometimes. You really are.
Yeah, got to have a laugh, haven't you?
Makes me laugh, darling.
Yes, we are a comedy duo here. It's not nudes, it's not law, it's just comedy.
Ooh.
We have a trio, menage a trois, darling, duo.
We end up in this situation because of a great deal of many things in this pot here. But the one thing that we are definitely in this pot of iniquity, that's the word of the week, I think, is because in my eyes, the bankers and the money system and the bills hidden remedy with the bills of exchange and the transfer via discharge and the trusts and the papal sees of the paparazzis and so forth. And then with that deception, which is massive and hard to grasp, but we've got that encapsulated there. We have the legal system and the Club of Rome, which fundamentally anchors with the Vatican and the monarchy. And when you've got an army that strong, there's no point in going to pick a battle with it and hoping you're going to win because you haven't got the resources. As lovely as, equity acts in persona, and we get down with 10,000 men and, King old Richard of York and gave battle in vain, and York Right, Masons, monarchy, armies. We saw at the seminar in the field, Kevin, Andy, stealth bombers. We saw the arsenal that they have. It doesn't intimidate, but it doesn't fear. But, we have to be careful here. When you get urged to put on a yellow vest and go out and act in persona, equity, protest and show your worth, then all I want to say is that we are, as a family, peaceful, and we are looking for a universal non-sectarian remedy for all, where we declare the heritage of England and Wales and Scotland and Ireland away from the United Kingdom and the courts and London and the bank and the monarchy ours, and we manage with that. That's not a foreign concept. There's a foreign concept ruling now as a government and a city of London when it isn't. So that's the reality, and our reality has been taken away from us by those fundamental key points. Religion then overlaps that, and we look at each other as if we're different because they eat different food, or they smell a bit different when they're cooking it, or they pray a bit different, or they've got a different language. But the confusion of the tongue and babble and Babylon is designed for a reason. So we don't speak, and we're designed to hate each other. But that's got to go. That's the main issue. The community spirit now, creeds, colours, sexes. When I was raving as a youth at the age of 15 in places like the Q Club, Birmingham, Dreamscapes and the Fantasias, there was a saying, and it was a colour, a sea, a colour that was mixed to black, white, brown, Chinese. I'm being blunt here and raw, but it was a colour of a sea of everybody, and there was no fighting, there was no shanking, there was not one violent. Kevin, Andy, you may have been to such raves, I dare say, and embarrassing dancing, but the love and the unity between one and all was truly. The police turned up and they were like, well, there's no happening, they're all getting on, there's nothing to do, the police just stood there and watched everybody rave. Not one fight. It was like the Crown didn't get much revenue because they were loved up, and there was on drugs. There were probably the establishment's drugs and so forth to distract us from the Criminal Justice Act, Arthur Scargill, the mines, and what was going off with the quasi trusts. Thank you, rave scene and Pac-Man, for doing that. But there was no fighting, was there? And we got on, and we need that feeling back, but without the MDMA and the rave.
Yeah, it was good times. Never really saw much aggro and that going on. Not back then.
I don't know what you're talking about. I've never been to a rave.
You're a rave all on your own, Andy.
Oh, mate.
The summer of '88. You was there, the summer of '88. I saw thee.
I was only born in '84.
1884.
What? I've never been good at math. Please don't mock me.
I said 1884.
Vintage, mate.
Stereo MC, the greatest music from Jonesy. Respect Jonesy. Yes. Andy.
Well, yeah.
Music. Can you mention any music that you listen to lift you up? What type of music do you like to lift you up? Is it old school? Is it some classics? Is it a mixture?
Yeah,
Baldunican.
Yeah, I listen to a mixture, mate, of BB King. I like the blues music and King, all them sorts of things. I listen to a lot of Pink Floyd, Dire Straits, that type of music. Real proper bands, real proper musicians and artists performing, giving a true proper performance for the exchange. That's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah. Proper musicians.
Yeah, a bit of heart and soul, baby. Listen, music is music. We can all listen to the same song today, and dependent upon your vibration today, whether you're high or low, you can either laugh or cry. And tomorrow you can have the opposite emotion with the very same song. It can make you laugh and cry. It's your perception, it's your feeling on the day, and that's how we're to handle ourselves. Like the Buddhists say, I say on the white lines in the middle of the tarmac that not to aim too high so you won't fall too far. We're all to have faith and aspiration, but however, don't live beyond your means and set yourself ridiculous goals and aims that are not attainable. So you're setting yourself too far to fall, essentially, is what I'm saying. Be true to yourself. Know thyself. Know your capabilities, although they are infinite and endless. A little bit at a time, steady and slowly,
Slowly, catchy monkey.
I like the melodies. The melodies in music and the vibrations aren't always good in the types I listen to as computer 808 drum machines and acids that I listen to, and left field, Chemical Brothers, future sounds of DJs, Cold Cut, lots of acid, London, Papua New Guinea, future sound of London. Oh my days, such orbital chimes, lots of digital, lots and lots of digital music. And then you've got things like Ghostbusters 2, where they've got to get the Statue of Liberty to move and they cover it with that goo, and then they realise that it reacts to phonics and vibrations, and they play that tune. It's that what is it? Lifting me up higher and higher. Who sings that? Lifting me up, 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 up.
Oh my Lord, is that from one?
That's phonically. Who is it? Lifting me up. I forget. It's not James Brown, but it's like one of them. You know. And when I heard that when I was about 10, 11, when that came out, I was instantly pulled to the screen. What? This is brilliant music. Where's this from? Like swing, you know, Beatles and so forth. They're jive music, but not jive, a little bit more soulful. Lifting me up. Do you not know it, Kev or Andy? Not that particular scene.
Not from your version.
I'd have to name your rendition in about 13.
Yeah.
No,
That's why DJ man don't sing. I know that, but yeah, I'll find it out. The point is that even that is a great song. It's that great. It allegedly made the Statue of Liberty move because the music, the feel. So it doesn't matter. Each man and woman has a certain type of artist, or even listening to whale music, listening to running water. You know, that's tranquil, peaceful, relaxes the mind. Listen. I, for one, speak too much, and I've learned to breathe and to listen. That in itself is a marvelous thing. Let me tell you, it is for me. It's for you when you get a chance to speak again. And you know, conversations are an art form. You need to breathe in them, and in a conversation on paper, you need to have full stops. You need to have closure. In a courtroom, you need to go in there and you need to do that again, and you need to do it concisely, maybe not with paper, so it's just coming out from here and here, and you've got the belief, you need your gut feeling, you know, and you really hate this, you know, you think the judge hates your guts because he's talking to you like that. No, it is, so. Oh dear, I'm going to stop it.
Is this stuff you're talking about? Yeah.
That's what it did. That's what it did. Oh,
yeah, I'll get you, mate. I've got all your style of music as well, but I prefer my own style. You know, I've got some of this dancey, ravey, techno, hardcore, pop stuff. You know.
Is it not?
No, don't start me off. I've got my dancing laces in. I'll be off across the living room, baby.
Voodoo Ray. That was a guy called Gerald and Voodoo Ray. Very, very old classic. Remember Pete Tong playing that when I'd come back in from somewhere, and I thought, this is going on a while. And one of the longest records I ever heard at the time, next to a Sasha record, but electronica. It was funky, you know, it was good, but what my mum used to listen to, my grandma, and what I've since found after exiting electronica, and you know, there is a wealth of excellent sounds out there, tribal sounds, harmonic resonance, you know, very good. So depression and anxiety, overall mood, when you choose what you program yourself with. Binaural beats, I found them by accident. You know, what are they about? You know, I had a look at those. Solfeggio scale, and how to say correctly with an A, E, or is it I, O, and then an M. I was speaking to Josh. I've forgotten it. How he should probably say when you do a Buddhist, when he says It's not straight om. It does, have points in the thing how you say it, and that resonance is to settle the body's, inner self. So before you meditate, you settle and center, forget, breathe, and silence. That's my message to you. Maybe after that, that's when you put the music on. But I'm practicing my meditation techniques, and it does pay off later on when you have that road rage incident. If you find yourself, it's easier not to get out of the car and go, nah, then you're gonna, and just go, hey up, pal, that was close, weren't it? Or have a joke about it rather than always reacting. We now have the ability to thankfully respond correctly, and that's an achievement for man and us in itself. Well done, everyone. Yeah.
Response is always better than reaction. Give yourself a chance, mate. That's what the breathing is for, so you can respond responsibly instead of react like a lunatic.
We've come a long way in many areas, not just about law. So we've got some more publications to come out, some more news and projects and stuff, down the line. So it's good to have had you in the house, brothers. If you've got nothing more to say, I'm going to scan the room and then say ciao bello, good night, and blessings.
Yeah, do that, mate.
Yeah, that's
Somebody
fine,
asked
mate.
earlier. Sorry, someone asked earlier if the accounts, the trusts, are collected when somebody is deceased. And what I wanted to say was, don't just take mine or Andy's or Kevin's word for it. Look at estates. Look at probate. Look at intestate, intestacy, intestate. When you die and you are in probate, all right? So if you're looking at wills and probate, and I'm not an expert, I'm not qualified to give you lawful or legal advice, but what I'm saying to you is, with regards to this, you can hear me, Andy and Kev, testify and give to you everything, and you can go off and believe it. But we need you to hear, make notes, and go off and then do your own, whether it be on SPOs or a collection of sites, videos, legal dictionaries, Oxford dictionaries, and other such places, and go and get as many as you can and come back and then go, I clearly see and smell a paparazzi. And we'll say, yes, it's a Club of Rome, go home. That's what we're saying. So, yes, it does. Unfortunately, the gravestone, capital letters, your final act executed in the public of death. Sorry, but that's what they do. And then they, in a war, all the soldiers, all the estates of the soldiers, of the battles that they maybe perhaps look like, economically perpetuate and grossly make money off through the art of war, and then collecting the dead souls' estates as well. So, it's all food for thought there. Protection of assets and estate. Through your will, using your mind at the temple, and knowing how to proclaim and protect ring fence assets coming into trust, whether now delicate area, you go through a lawful trust, a legal trust, ecclesiastical trust, a combination of some of the trust in other trusts that are protected in a master trust, is up to you. It's not for me or any of these fine brothers to tell you what to do there, but these are the key points of protection that's been hidden from man and given instead Article 61 and such other rubbish that will get you in hot water, vexate, damage, and not really protect any asset, correct anything, and just cause argumentation. So well done, us and all you and the family, for where we're at and what we're doing. Kevin and that technology, you've come and made a big landing there with the thousands that you can potentially, if not hundreds of thousands, help out until the system starts to evolve, which we have no power over, like when they amend certain acts and put things in, and that's the Club of Rome and how they operate. They've got more money, and they've got whips and parliaments and things in shadows and cabinets and whatnot, and we haven't. So we have to react until we learn to instruct them and hold them to account and compel instead of submit and beg. And we'll find out we're in a stronger, safer, more secure place. So I'm extremely proud beyond belief. But there are key, simple things that we're missing here, which is your mind, strength, as Andy has said, inwardly, outwardly, and you've got to go on your journey. There's not a list we can give you and say, do that. because it's not for us. No man can tell another man. There is a certain things. Any advice, boys, on how to protect or what to do?
Sorry, mate. I was miles away myself there. Andy got me did. I was actually reading the room.
Yeah, that's all right,
Sorry.
Kev. Just
Sorry, Dave. I just noticed a question, if I can just say, from Steph about possibly recovering deceased husband's accounts. We need a little bit more info on that, but I'm sure it could be looked into. Well, I don't see why not. But yeah, need a bit more info, and maybe we can point you in the right direction there, Steph. Sorry, Dave, mate. I was miles away while you were talking. To be honest, I was scrolling through the room, mate, seeing what was happening. There was a couple of things I just wanted to remember.
Just under that, we've asked for Jay, Stephanie, Magnus has asked for Stephen Nicks and Gypsy. So I just thought I'd back that in the background. There we go. I've got a lovely mate. There you go. No more requests, thank you. The DJ is going home. We'll get chucked up. We'll go for doing music.
You'll get the pirates on me. I'll have the pirates after me soon. Don't make the pirates come on.
It's not so bad with the dance music, is it? But when you start putting these type of bands on, you know, the pirates will come and start shooting cannons at you and stuff like that, you know.
Can I just say, yeah, you're right. Instruments are played by band members. Come on, because I'm weird and I can't help it. It's just jumped out at me there. Instruments played by band members, instruments used in law. Another cognitive dissonance. You see, if I had created this, just for instance, I'm not saying I should have, but if I was the phonetical master here and I'd constructed these words and implied meanings and definitions and associations, then it wouldn't be instrument in a band and instrument in law. It would be one or the other. The fact that they do this, it makes your brain not have any bearings on the language. And your language, right, is I firmly believe that language is ownership. Language is ID. Not that we have an ID, but an identity of man. And if you speak Babel, which is reverse phonetic bullshit, to be fair, that is not good, and it means these 2, 3, 4 things, and it reverberates. You know, look at the Arabs and the Chinese and so forth, how they write, how beautiful it is, what an art form it is. And then look at us. I'm not having a go at anybody, you know. I'm from here myself, remember. It's just that it's all at some point, you know, we've all been beaten up and had a financial issue, but at some point we've got to recognize that we've been hoodwinked big time, and the writings on the wall, and the music, the phonics, the instruments in the band, instruments in law, instruments all over, but shouldn't be that way. It's not just right and proper in my mind. And as a dyslexic kid trying to learn, you know, dyslexic goat kid, trying to learn the curriculum and stuff, I've really struggled, and I thought I was insane at first, and now as a man I can clearly see that there was some kind of foul play at hand.
And plenty of it. Well, boys and girls, it's been emotional sometimes. It's that time of the day for me whereby I've got to go and do my other duties, responsibilities and liabilities to be adhered to. So as much as I'd love to stay and chat and hold hands and play merry-go-rounds, I've got to go and shoot off and do things. So thanks one and all for listening. And thanks for asking me on, Dave. And we'll speak up again soon, pal. Nice to speak to you, Kev.
Yeah, I'll catch up with you maybe in the week, Andy.
Yeah,
maybe we you know, I'll send you a message first to see what's happening. But okay. We'll catch up with you, brother. Great to speak to you, Andy.
Thank you, and thanks for all the love in the chat room too. I've read through some of the comments and welcoming me back and everything. Thank you, everybody, and it is what it is. We'll get there.
Yep, indeed. Yes, it is. Thank you very much for coming on. Thank you, brother. It's we're getting off soon. I'm not staying on all night. It's just a little recap and assets, property.
Hopefully, I'll book to your house this week. I'll pop up midweek and we'll come and meet in persona and go through what we've got to do.
Yes, that ticking clock, indeed. A nice one. We'll speak in the office at some point then, yes, through the week. Yes, right. All right, thank you. Yeah, nice one then. Blessings to all. Much love, and speak soon, brother.
Yes, no problem. In the eyes of our Creator, may my brethren have peace and love and inner harmony and sanctum, and blessings and peace be. Bonjour, everybody.
Bless you, Andy.
See you later. Night, mate.
Just me and thee then.
Me and these scribes here, just swapping Wi-Fi's. I'm just going back onto. Let's see, has that worked? Yeah, I need to get a bit of charging. Done that. Check that. Plugged it in, charging, but the other end weren't plugged into the plug. It was plugged into my phone, but it fell out the end of the plug socket in the wall. So what looked like something that was charging wasn't.
That's my usual trick. Why
You
ain't
can
that
do that
working?
before you go to bed. Yeah. And you do it before work, before bed, before you got to get up for your servitude, and you think you've plugged it in, and then it doesn't go off because it's gone flat, and then you don't get up for work, and that's how your bad Mondays start. Tricks like that, and then you think, why me? And it's not just by chance. These things like that, they happen because you need to learn and do something and learn to plan more and change your life and prepare better. And if you're not going to plan and change and prepare, you're going to continuously be chasing your shadow. And I had to learn quite a lot of lessons like that, where I kept thinking, why is life just setting me up all the time? Why have others got such good luck? Why am I getting bestowed misfortune from Castle Grayskull when I'm supposed to be He-Man, the master of the you and I verse, and I've got the power, but yet my life's falling apart and it's like something's working against me? Well, it was me. I was working against me, would you believe it? And I had to have a stop and a listen and a look, and yeah, it's,
Well, a lot of
it's
it is.
truly.
That's what that's what helps once you realise it's how you're reacting to something. That's where the main problem lies. If you can change the way you react to something, or notice when it's happening and make small changes, it really makes a difference. So I'm not saying it's the perfect cure. As I say, I've had a couple of off days the last couple of days, but prior to that, I've had a good little run of stability, to be honest. So as I say, it's just losing it. It was just this thing's got a bit stressful, but yeah, it still happens. But just silly little things, just break habits, and you'd be amazed at how you suddenly start reacting differently. And the law of attraction, that works really great as well, as I find. That helps. My son got me into that.
Speaking about biorhythms, man's having a last half of a coffee at 11:15 when I've got to go to bed. But I love coffee and I'm so addicted, but I really need to sort it out.
I've been like that. I think I had one at 2:00 yesterday.
I used to not have coffees after 6 p.m, but now it's like I just back in the swing of things because I've been abroad and a bit out and whatever and bent the rules. I've got to discipline myself back into it. So I'm nowhere near perfect, nor have I found inner peace. No.
I wish I had. No. Find it here and there.
I found some hidden peas in the freezer when I cleaned it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, you guys get everywhere. How'd you get down there? All these loose peas like that, not inner peas, no.
Very good. Very droll.
Can you say that again?
Very droll.
I'm sorry, yeah, it's time of night. It's Sunday. It was a long week last week. The week before was quite, it was lovely and beautiful in many ways, but sad and heartbreaking in others. So the week before that moved home for the Queen. So it seems to have been the last 3 weeks, and the accumulation of this weekend have just knocked me into touch. So, forgive me for I've had 3 full-on weeks, one after the other, and I wanted just to touch base with the scribes and say, yeah, we are not as regular as we used to be. We're not coming on all the time. We've said everything we need to say. If there is important news things that we need to mouth off about and just reiterate or bring to attention to enforce, like the Benicia, the Michaels, Bernicia and Odera, brother Richard there of the Werner clan tribe and etc. And the news media mess ups, breaches of national security, getting out to the Daily Telegraph in treason dismayed, anger. The Queen sits by and does jack. I'm seriously wondering what QE2. We've got issues here, Elizabeth, massive ones, and the country's going, here, there, and everywhere. And this lady with all this supremacy and sovereignty is doing what? I don't know. Doing up her palaces. And
mate.
it's madness,
She's just a puppet now, mate. She was not even the correct person anyway, but that's why nothing's being done.
It really is, if I was in that, if Charles or somebody or the children, Diana used to walk through minefields, did she not? And say, I don't care that I'm royalty. You lot have messed up the planet. I may die by stepping on a mine that you lot have funded, bought with your banker friends and left out there after you've had your skirmishes and raped and pillaged everywhere. You don't go and clear up your shit. You leave it out for the children to go and, the cattle and the families, your chemicals and your Agent Oranges and your Vietnams and all this other crap, the Lao and the wars. And I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional again, but then Diana went out, bless her. The point being, she went out and walked through that crap and says, you lot make me sick and I'm going to go and do this, whoever she was paid to, whether it was a drone, a robot, I don't care. It happened and I saw it and I thought, she's all right, she is. What the hell? Why would royalty, why would you risk your life? Why would the Queen let you do that? She's the Queen. She can tell you what she wants, really. She's the Queen, You're surely going to be in trouble. And later down the line, she got in trouble, didn't she, bless her? And, R.I.P. Whether the hypocrisy or the politics and the media and that thing with Elton John, wow, just bless her for what she did. And, the royal family now, it's non-existent, in fact. The Queen and the royals, and when they're in the news and what she did at Christmas, that speech, it was like, wow, I was really ready to rip her apart and what we had and going off over the year and nothing. There was absolutely nothing. And I thought, these American claims of and falling out of grace with God and certain other changing of the Home Guard to the Navy. Wow, interesting political moves are going off, if you haven't noticed, fam. Yes. But she would. You think she could just go out then, but still, I'm not going to rant on about it all night. It's down to us, as we are finding out, not to barons, not to articles and Magna Cartas that were essentially a trust set up there. It's down to man and the offspring. Wanna be an American idiot. Now, was that the Offspring or was that someone else? That weren't Offspring, was it? That was
Green Day, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe Green Day. But you get me, catch my drift there. We have got ourselves, we've got these fine musicians out there with their vibrations and we ignore it. Another song comes out and we forget that one because it's a week old now and there's a new one out. But the lyrical content, I have been guilty of over skipping and seeing and the messages within there. And they are quite simple, whether it be, Satisfy My Soul by Bob Marley whilst listening to Andy recite from the Bible. I've never thought that day was going to come. I was stood there listening to Andy and my subconscious put Bob Marley Satisfy My Soul whilst he was going on because he said soul a couple of times. My brain went, I have a song with soul in. There we go. And it played it on. And, creativity, interpretations and messages. Martin Luther King, many prolific. John Lennon, there's an artist that had something to say. The Beatles, I don't know, but they were quite, iconic at the time. Screaming fans, passing out. This is the idols. Andy mentioned there in the book, idols and, the living God and certain things that I said about the Club of Rome and what's going on there and what we're pointing out. But the idols, the false idols, the false prophets, 30,000 denominations of Christianity. So that means that 29,999 idols and one of them is right. Well, good luck picking that one then. It's a fucking joke, isn't it, to be fair? Not a funny one, but on us. And where is remedy, as we've pointed out, in money and bills and, currency tender, discharge, endorsement, private, albeit, but out there remedy in law. It is in history, articulated, proven now by the work of 8 to 10 to 20 years. I know Michael's have put 8+ years in to what they're doing, and others have put in years and years. I've got 15+ in the game from 2005 up to 1915. Is that 14? Correction, because of the access to my property. So I only have the latter, 2015, the foundation, the principal, construction, and expression of trust, which I didn't know at the time, by creating a Facebook group. Just by creating a Facebook group, I said to the realm, I'm going to set this thing up. I see you groups, and I've been to you groups, and you're not very nice. You haven't got the substance over the form. I don't know what I'm looking for. It involves language and law and children and courts and barristers and wigs and scariness, and you lot, you don't have what I'm looking for. So we set it up, and we proceeded to collect and to gather and to chat and magnetize. And several years later, we have really I don't know what the word is, star in a jar. We've sparked off a chain reaction. Search anybody who's got some spare time on their hands. Look at you, an excellent film from 1996 with Keanu Reeves and that man Morgan Freeman. It's about hydrogen and experiments and governments and agents. And Anne-Marie was talking about something, and it was like shown in Hungary on one of the channels there, on the Sky channels. Strange tangent to go on, but I've got here this Chinese box from. I'm going to do a special video on it, unboxing the Chinese Android TV box, and I searched on there for that film, Chain Reaction, and I found it and I watched it. Absolutely brilliant. Not because it's a film from Hollywood, but because of the content, the topic, and how they portray hydrogen to be dangerous, and the technology is unmanageable and man's not ready for it. And I'm like, oh, it stinks of Club of Rome. Bullshit. Again, look at it, fear-mongering. Oh, hydrogen, it'll explode and kill you. It cleans, it burns clean. It gives out oxygen and steam instead of, carbon dioxides and so forth. It can fuel engines and power, and it can come from what falls from the sky. So it's basically excellent, not scary, and not as they depicted it. So it just goes to show you, again, the realm that you live in and what you put up with. If you tolerate this, then again, we say it, your children, they will be next. I yield.
Yeah, Mike, if you're still about, mate. Yeah, it'll be probably nearer lunchtime, mate. I'll give you a call. Sorry, Dave, just having a look through the room.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll have a cigarette and sign off.
Yeah, I've got the doctor's first thing. Well, not that early in the morning, Mike, but I'm hoping to get I won't be getting a bit of a lie-in, will I? No. I'll speak to you.
Did you just look at Roy when you said that?
No, they're upstairs. I've got just Dixie and two of the cats that I can see. I think there's a third one around somewhere. Oh no, she's outside. Number 4's upstairs. So no, I'm getting no harassment. I've had some peace and quiet since about 8:30.
What nice. I'm getting the chat loaded up now, then we can say good night. And yeah.
Yeah, I'm just having a roll through. I think I'm quite near the end, to be honest.
Can't see. I've got live chat on, but I saw Steve was in earlier. I can't scroll back to an hour or whatever it was ago.
No, I haven't seen Steve for quite a while. But as I say, I've been away from the tablet a few times, so I don't know.
Get your good nights in. Ciao, bellows. Yeah, we're getting off soon, fam. So.
Yeah, thanks everybody for listening, popping by, hanging around. I hope you've all enjoyed it. Great to see you all. Thanks very much. Catch up with you soon.
Oh, started something at the Royal Family. Look at Menz's comments and Jerry and Michael all talking about it. It's a sore point, isn't it? We're men of honour. men of the realm, pay your taxes. They steal the money, to be fair, but you have to pay them, because if you don't, then you get the biggest collection agents on your arse, the IRS, Inland Revenue Services for the States and the UK. You get them, and you don't win. So, yes, loving the comments. Well done. Thank you very much. 33 in the house right now, Kevin says.
Yeah, I've got 28. Numbers are better this week. That's what it says on mine, but so I can only see it on the on what I'm looking at the chat room on the tablet, so it's a little bit behind, but not much. I noticed tonight.
Die breathing. War is art. Trust thou you sell. War is art. Trust thou sell. CELL. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I've covered them all. Whale song by Stephanie. Yeah, I've got that. Jerry, you can send video links. They should come through fine. I don't know what's going on there. I've got video links before, so John, it's just yo, sorry late. Been watching Mark Pazio. What on earth is happening? I don't know. I'm going to go and watch Mark Pazio. John, if you've got a link for Mark Pazio, I do like that brother. He keeps me up all night. He does. I don't mind saying, for want of a pun. He's a very clever man. He astounds me. That Mark Pazio, astounding fellow, brother. He's on it. He's a clever lad. Bloke. So yeah, thank you. Nice one, John. We're getting off. You've missed it. You're gonna rewind select ta 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 ta. Here we go. Hold on. On the waltzers. Remember them rides with the echo. Hold on, kids, on my die. I was like, what do you mean? Brilliant days. Sick and Thunderbirds, waltzers, distraction. Sorry. That's what you do, though. You get to teenagers in England and you want to go out and get drunk, and this is what we've got to change the mentality. They don't do that abroad. They don't do that in Italy and Greece. They do, obviously, because they're teenagers, but not en masse like what we do. Ganja, cigars, such and such, alcohol, sex, straight away. Give it me all now, at once.
Yeah.
And I've been watching Pornhub for the last 2 years, so I expect 5 women and 17 different. And it's like, well, hang on a minute, this is unreasonable. No, this isn't real life, boys. This is not real life. Come on, hello.
Get a grip.
When I was young, I was happy with 5 mates. Now you guys want 5,000 views an hour, or you feel depressed. What? What's going on? What have we done to the youth? But thank you all.
Yeah,
Nice
cheers,
one,
Jerry. Thanks all.
One and all.
I'm going to cut and run now while it's still relatively early.
Let's go, cut and run. Get out while you can.
Big love to all. One love, people. See you soon.
Big love to Andy. Watch out for the book. Nice one, Kev. Big love. So, yes, fam. Look after yourselves. One love. We will be back. When we are back, we will see you on the .com and in the places where you know to find us. I will say good night. Au revoir. Ciao bello. Guten Tag. Arrivederci. It's been fun. Look after yourselves. Please research. Get back to us. We are sorting out Kevin's and Andy's and Josh's emails. I've sent them all the details. I've hooked them in with G-Star. That will be happening. There is a few emails to respond to. Nonna never got back to you. Sister J. They will be done. And all is well. Peace and love. Thank you. Ciao bello.